I'm Phil Baklar with the Regional Synod, and I'm here at the Pilgrim Church in Paramus, I understand it is now.
Right.
I'm with Walter White from Wyckoff Reformed Church. And so welcome and thanks for coming. Now, Walter, we're here to talk about some of the events that are associated with the Regional Synod, like the Fig Orchard and Pilgrimage School. Which of those have you been involved with?
Well, I've been involved with both, but I would say I remember I was involved with the Pilgrim School just when it started.
Really?
And I had recently become a elder at the Wyckoff Reformed Church, and they started giving courses on how to be an elder and how to be a deacon. And that's when I became involved in a lot of these activities and different programs that have come along.
Right, so you were there right when it was beginning.
Right.
Seeds were planted at Wyckoff. And, you know, before we talk further, though, I'm interested do you think you can figure out, you know, a lot of people don't get involved in these kinds of things. Why did you get involved?
Well, I've always been involved in going to different programs, trying to increase my knowledge.
Okay.
And so that and when I became an elder at the church, I was on the education committee, and I really believe education is most important for adults. You know,
right.
As Harry Wentz says, you know, you always educate the kids, and the parents just go to church, when it should be the other way around. You need to educate the adults, and
right.
You know. So I do believe that education is an important part of right. the whole.
Well,
church.
Your support has helped that grow along, and so that's good. Yeah. So more recently, though, what are some of the events you've been involved with associated there?
Well, one of the events that we're really getting involved in right now is this fall when Becky Pippert comes here.
Okay.
And our church we had I think 12 or 14 small groups studying Hope Has Its Reasons by Becky Pippert, and then we're going to do her other book this summer.
Okay.
And so this is one of the programs that I've been
now let me back up. You said 12 small groups?
In our church,
studying?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Well, it is. I
Yeah.
guess I don't know how many, but I would guess we probably have, maybe 150 people.
150 people are all involved in a study of this book.
Right.
In preparation for her visit.
Which will be in October for a whole weekend, and it's going to be it's going to be open to the public and to all the other churches around, and it's a big commitment, and our church was the one that really set the seeds to get this involved, and underwrote a major portion of the cost involved, and so, you know, we've been involved in that, and I'm members of a men's group that meets every Saturday morning, and that was our group has been studying the book with the Reverend James O'Connell, our senior minister.
So you're going to be very primed for what it is that she says when she comes.
Right.
That's great. That's great. Have you found in all of that preparation a feeling that it's changing your spiritual life or the spiritual life of the congregation?
I think it has to some extent, because it's bringing new knowledge that I hadn't really thought about to the whole thing. And of course, we want to basically try to grow our church and evangelize, and I think that's so important. And so I think this is very worthwhile. Now we're studying Dietrich Bonhoeffer, so that's another area that brings us up with discipleship, so it's very important.
Can you think of one thing that the Pippert book has been interesting to you, or a new idea or a new knowledge that you've gained? Does anything come to mind offhand?
Well, I think I got a lot out of this Dietrich Bonhoeffer that we're studying. Which discipleship is critical to the whole church and to your walk with faith with Jesus. I mean, without that, and it brought up a lot of things I hadn't really stopped to consider, and I found it very, very interesting.
Very good. So it's awakened in you this realization of the significance of discipleship,
Right.
and you're going to continue that with the groups at the church.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So what are some other ways that you've been involved? So you've been involved with the Becky Pippert preparation and that meeting coming up. Your church has been very involved. Have you been to other events that have?
Oh, I've been through many. I mean, some of the meetings I first went to that I found very interesting were, what it requires to be an elder. And when I had just become an elder, and they started giving this course on what it takes to be an elder, and also what it takes to be a deacon, and what I thought was very interesting was, and most important was, that we began not only going to a central location to hear these courses, but they'd come to your own church. So I think this was important because I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily travel somewhere, but if we can get the people to come over to your church, and I think every new consistory should have all new members go to these meetings, and I think it makes it's a great, as they say, make a house call to come to the.
Right.
I mean, is a great benefit to the local churches and to get the experts in there.
Yeah, and I know that Pilgrimage School is committed to that, not only having regional events, but making those particular house calls when a church says we'd like this kind of a focus. They're very responsive to that.
Right, right.
So you must be a bit proud of watching the Pilgrimage School take off through all the...
Oh, yeah, I am, yeah. It's really done, it's doing very well in this whole thing. I'll tell you, another one meeting I went to was with Ellen Ratmeyer,
Yes.
and it was all on prayer.
Right.
And she was terrific. It was a very good program, and I found that very interesting.
Can you remember anything in particular that it sparked off for you in a new direction, or?
Well, I wouldn't say I can remember anything specific that sent me off in a new direction, but it just would help me continue my prayer life, that's all.
It nurtured a sense of it. I know that she's got training in spiritual direction and helping people think about this, and I'm sure she brings that when she comes to the meetings. What are your hopes as you think beyond the Pippert event? Are there things that you, as someone who's watched the Pilgrimage School grow up, and do you have hopes and dreams for other things that could happen for it?
I think the more we're able to get outside people coming in that have a lot to offer, and that we can make it as wide a broad a spectrum, the better off we are. Because, listen, it's not just our church, your church, it's the community of believers. And we need to expand it and make it better, so that it's only by having more educational programs and having as wide a possible audience is great. And I think the thing that we've been doing with the Pilgrim School, hearing about, studying about the other churches around the area is terrific.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really is a terrific thing, because we're living in a pluralistic society. And I think it's important for the Christians to try to be together, even though we have our separate little churches. We're all worshiping the one Lord in Jesus. So it's important that we acknowledge our differences and sort of learn about our differences.
Right. It's easy to just live in our own little circles.
Right, in our own little cocoon, so to speak.
Right,
But
right
it's
here
important.
we're in the Pilgrim Church, which is a Korean American church.
Right.
And I was talking to the pastor earlier, and he said he's appreciated the interactions that have bonded them to the community more too.
Right.
So it's interesting the way that Pilgrimage School and Fig Orchard facilitate that by bringing people out of their churches then together for the learnings. So that's great. Well, thanks for taking time to talk with us.
Well, thanks very much.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Okay.